Story Time with Grandma Coyote, every Monday of April, presented by the Cultural Arts Department of American Indians in Texas of the Spanish Colonial Missions, in association with the City of San Antonio Department of Arts and Culture and the Texas Commission on the Arts.
Good afternoon, welcome friends and family out there. Welcome to Season 4, Episode 3 of Storytime with Grandma Coyote. Today we're on location at the Whitty Museum, right here beside the beautiful San Antonio River. Me and Grandma Emma are here to visit the Fiesta gown exhibit, which this Whitty Museum puts on every year during Fiesta. Fiesta is one of my favorite times of the year as a born and raised San Antonian. I've got wonderful memories playing downtown and eating wonderful food downtown and running a chaos all around downtown unsupervised and carnival rides. And that's going to be a real big theme of our conversation this afternoon is really memories of old San Antonio and feelings of what makes home home. Obviously, San Antonio loves to celebrate. We love a good reason to throw a party. And Fiesta is by far our biggest party here in town.
So we needed a reason for it.
We'll find any reason to throw a party in this town.
It rained, it didn't rain. It's hot, it's cold, whatever.
So we just finished with the Fiesta gown exhibit here at Whitty, of course, like I just said. We definitely picked out some of our favorites. Some of them are not as old as we remember them.
There was only one. Mm-hmm. That last one that was saw. That it was 1920.
Mm-hmm. The peacock dress, right?
Yeah, that was the only one that was that old.
Yeah.
The others were 60 this way.
It's interesting to see how we thought that the older dresses were going to be a lot more time period, but they were actually very modern, and I was like, you could still see how a lot of people would enjoy them today, and how the gowns that were made like in the 60s and 70s, they look very much like they're from the 60s and 70s, and how I would probably I see a lot of people being apprehensive about wanting to wear those kind of crazy hippie kind of colors and patterns and stuff.
Well, I'm going back to hippies.
Yeah.
I
more
decided
color.
This summer it's all going to be real boho, a lot of jewelry. Well, it's always a lot of jewelry. But I don't know, I just kind of want to change a little bit. Clothes to where you don't have to iron them. Take them out of the dryer, shake them off, and put them on, and that's it. Don't have to iron. So, yeah, I'm going boho this summer.
Yeah, the world needs more color, period. So why not dress it up? I'm wearing this jacket that you gave me, which is one of my favorites. I've got tons of compliments today.
It is.
I love it. And I'm glad that we kind of matched. We got our weaving cloths going on.
Weavings are always so good. I mean, it's a reminder of what our people did, men and women. But men also did weaving, and they still do. Beautiful weavings. It's just kind of touching a little bit of the old spirit. Not getting away from it. And we just had a friend land over there. I can't tell it behind the greenery. It's a big bird. It's just beautiful. It just when we started talking, it just decided to fly in and land back there. So friend, you're welcome to join us.
Got a little waterbird friend come and join us and listen to us. It's always good messages from grandfather creator.
Oh,
paying attention.
There's always, the messages are always there. Whether we see them or we don't, that's up to us. But just the fact that we are alive, we are getting to see all this greenery coming up. It's like creation starting all over again, because every day is different. So the world comes alive every single day in a different way. So keep going.
So we're gearing up for Fiesta here in San Antonio, so the entire city is starting to get ruckus. It is getting a little more colorful downtown, of course. Grandma, what were some of your favorite memories of exploring San Antonio downtown back in the glory days?
Well, I was born and raised right downtown by Main Plaza on the 300 block of Dwyer. So the big thing was the carnival.
Oh, yes.
The
I
carnival.
love the carnival
And,
downtown.
it used to set up down Buena Vista in front of San Fernando. And the plaza in front of San Fernando was very, very different from now. And my daddy always worked the carnival. So I got free tickets to ride on everything. And poor my mama, she had to go with me because of all the tickets, this again and again and again. And she was very, very patient with me because there was no stopping me.
That must be a San Antonio tradition, too, of like finding someone who works in the carnival to either hook up for tickets or for food or for drinks. It's always helpful to find a friend that works in the hospitality industry during Fiesta.
I think my favorite ride was a Caterpillar, and it had seats, and it was like a train, and it went like a little roller coaster. But it also had a covering that once everybody was in, that they would cover up. And it was like the colors of a caterpillar. So you were inside this caterpillar going up and down. I love that Caterpillar ride. I don't know if they still have it or not, but it was, oh, we have another little friend coming. She's eating. Oh.
Is that a squirrel holding a peanut butter and jelly sandwich?
Yeah. That's it, folks. A squirrel eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
If that's not a story in the making, I don't know what is. We're going to create a story about this. Squirrel eating
Oh, I am going to go home and write a story about the squirrel that found a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
Well, it's just living its best life up there with that sandwich. Oh, what great, wonderful messages we're receiving
And
today.
butterflies. Messages are coming every which way. But to me, that was the best part of the carnival, back to the carnival.
I have a lot of fond memories of when the carnival used to be downtown in front of San Fernando Cathedral. That's was one of the very few times that we knew as a family we were going to go explore downtown and act like tourists. And so I always look forward to that because I knew that we were going to have our tacos on the Riverwalk and we were going to get raspas for the Alamo. So it felt really good to just feel like a tourist in your old city. Explore like that.
Talking about food. One time, my neighbor and her daughter were going to go to the carnival, and Mama was busy. She couldn't take me. So they asked, well, we can take her with us, and is it all right? And they said, yeah. I remember that the lady went, and there was hamburger stand, and she bought this hamburger and sat right there in the plaza in front of San Fernando. There was a wall of rock, and her daughter's on one side and I'm on this side, and the lady is eating the hamburger. She offered her daughter a bite, but she didn't offer me one. I could just taste that. I'd never had a hamburger, so I could just imagine what it tasted like. I remember wanting to taste it, and I was little. I was like about 4 or 5 years old at the most. I wanted a bite of that hamburger so bad, and she gave another bite to her daughter, but didn't give one to me. And she's holding it like this, and I'm starting to get angry because I want a bite of the hamburger. And you know, there's trees everywhere in the plaza at that time. There was a lot of trees. And next thing you know, a bird pooped on her hamburger. I was so happy that a bird pooped on her hamburger. She couldn't eat the hamburger anymore, but that was okay. I didn't care then if I didn't want any hamburger there. But it's crazy the things you think about. And I'm going like, I didn't think about it then, but maybe I should say, thank you, Grandpa.
Grandpa was looking out for you.
Thank you,
Saw that
looking
you were
out for
hungry.
this little girl, this little long-haired brown girl. Long braids. And just looking at that hamburger, I could taste it. It was so, oh my God, my mouth was watering. I think we're going to go get hamburgers
Oh,
afterwards.
happy, yes. One of my favorite Fiesta food traditions were also tripas. The smell of tripas just cooking downtown, because it's a very distinct smell. You can see that, the smell of the grease too, and boiling up there. And I don't see people cook it the same way they used to. And even though I wasn't a big fan of the food growing up, I do miss it being an option on the table. And because I remember, tripas always remind me of my grandparents, because they loved it, how they would, every morning they would share a tripa taco between the two of them, was their morning tradition. And during Fiesta, the smell of tripas in the air always reminds me of being in my grandparents' kitchen. The smell of tripas in the morning.
Yeah, talk about tripas. When I was in Benavides, where my grandmother lived, at Genoveva, the whole family, once a week, they would go to Alice or San Diego to the matanza, and they would take the tub, and they would bring back those tubs full of tripas. And then they would clean them and everything and put them in a big roaster. So, the thing was full, but by the time you got down to it, it wasn't.
Oh, yeah, you get this much and then you cook it down.
But I remember them bringing the tripas, and that was so good, because I love tripas too.
And there's gorditas, of course. You have to get your gordita whenever you go to the parade, which is like my favorite event at Fiesta. All the parades that happen around. The King Wheels parade is my favorite, because that one is the more artsy. It's more community members and more artists making their own art, but parading it through
the dogs.
Oh yeah, the dogs.
All the
I
little dogs come out in all their regalia, their little fancy Fiesta outfits.
The little dog Fiesta parade. I haven't seen that in years.
Yeah, I haven't gone in a long time because it's just me, so, I don't want to be walking around by myself. But I would love to be able to go to it again. I really enjoyed it. And I didn't do a lot of buying of food downtown because we didn't have money. We didn't, but I ate tamales and gorditas and all tacos over at my house, so it was not to me, it was just food. Mm-hmm. And again, we didn't have the money for that, to buy anything like that. But there was always a lot of true ethnic food at my house.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And even I always remember the best food at Fiesta coming from like little aunties and grandmas just starting a business during Fiesta. Family members who were really good at cooking a certain dish and just wanted to share it. And so I remember one year in my family we did turkey legs just because we wanted to come together for a church festival and sell turkey legs. Great time doing that.
My mother, they would come, she would make everything. Crafts for her were nothing to bother her. I mean, she was so good at everything. And I remember there was two ladies that owned the houses across the street from where we lived. And they always celebrated Fiesta in a big way. And they would come and ask Mother to make piñatas for them. And I remember crepe paper all over the place because she would make those long strips and cut them and then curl them. But she made them very simple, nothing, no animals for that. And she would go and get the jarro, go to the mercado and buy the jarro, and then paper mache it, and then make the cones and put the cones all the way around. And on the bottom, just gobs of streamers of that. But it was all crepe paper cut and curl. And so she would always make every year 2 piñatas for those ladies. And I remember, I hadn't even thought about it till right now that we're thinking, and I saw crepe paper everywhere.
Very much like us now. We work a lot with paper. We love to make a big mess of paper.
Yeah, and we still make them. Well, one of the last things that I did at Harlandale when I worked as cultural specialist in Harlandale was my last big event was to have, at that time, Cisneros was the mayor, and he was my last guest to come in. So the ladies that would come in to help me during the day, because we also had a parent workshop, that they could come and learn how to make crafts. We made about 250 little piñatas. And then, of course, the next day, or the day before, we made the gorditas and made the meat and everything to have for the next day. Well, we kept with the electric skillets that we have going. The breakers kept going also. Finally, they just sent the electrician, and he stayed there all day. There it is. There's the bird again. It's just over here where the branches moved it right there.
Oh, it's gotten closer to us.
Yes, because it came down and it went up there right now.
It wants to hear our stories.
I guess
it wants to be part of our conversation. It's more than welcome.
Yes, he is. He is. So it's just a lot. To me, Fiesta is a lot of bringing back those memories.
Putting in the
parade,
effort.
the parade. I love the parade. We would go and see them at that. At that time, the parades would go. The main thoroughfare. They would come in front of the Alamo, go down Commerce Street all the way to the west side, and then come back up on Houston Street. So it was a big route. And if you were in that parade, it was a really big route. Because I was in it also a couple of times when I was a kid.
It's like a San Antonio rite of passage. You have to, if you're a real San Antonio, you have to have at least march in a parade at some point.
Yeah, I was a red jacket. And they came and asked me, said, why didn't I try out for majorette? I said, I don't know how to twirl. And they said, oh, we need one. You'll be real good at it. I never twirl. I just did this. I never could twirl. I just did this, and I only did it that one time because we did it for the parade. We couldn't do the night parade. We weren't allowed to be at night for the girls at Tech. The commercial art teacher was awesome. She designed the majorette outfits and all that for Breckenridge, but she also designed them for Tech. But at that time, we couldn't wear short skirts, so our skirts were to about right above the knee. And who's ever seen a majorette? And then on top of that, we wore those stupid, dumb-looking hats. Old style with wide boots. Wide boots are okay, but those hats, we hated those hats. So what we would do before the parade, we wore real tight waist cinches. We'd open our jackets, our tops, and roll up the skirts
to make it shorter.
To make it shorter. And they would tie it up and they close our jacket. Of course, Monday morning we were going to hear about it. But you
look good for the photos, which is all that matters.
For the photos of the parade, we wore short skirts.
Some things never change, right? Children are like always I want to look good for the photo.
Yes,
so
the bird just flew down. I just saw it fly. That bird is really catching my attention. I don't know what it is.
That's a blue heron.
It is.
It's a heron.
It's a heron.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay, you got to see it.
Yeah, we've got wonderful water bird blessings today. It's all working out.
Heron was one of the ones that told Rabbit he wouldn't take him to the moon.
Oh, that's right. Last week's episode. Right.
Heron was one of those birds. Yeah.
And we talked about how the heron got its long legs and how it got
the crane.
Oh, the crane.
Crane got long legs.
And the streaking scared.
At that time, when we were talking about the route of the parade used to come right in front of the Alamo. And to us, that is a sacred site because that is part of the cemetery, Native American cemetery. So at that time, there was one council, SACNA, San Antonio Council of Native Americans, Gary Gabehart and Xavier de la Paz were the ones that ran it. So we protested. We went to city council and we protested, and I was the second speaker, so I know what I'm talking about. And we got it closed. The parade cannot go through in front of the Alamo. We had that part blocked off.
Because y'all wanted that section to be recognized as a
cemetery. It's known to be a cemetery. The records show it and everything. So we felt it was disrespectful that they would be having the cars and the horses and everything going on top of our native families.
Absolutely.
So we were able to get that street closed.
What year was this, girl?
I'm trying to remember what year it was, and I can't remember if it was in the 90-something, 91, something like that.
Wow, I did not know that. Thanks for doing that work.
Yeah, because we were also in protest and other things where we wanted remains back and all that. So, and then when SACNA broke up, and that's when the other AIT started, and United San Antonio Powwow started, because a lot of people that are now the beginners of AIT and that were part of SACNA. And when SACNA closed up, because Gary Gabehart moved out and Xavier let it go too, so they started
passed the reins to new other groups.
Yeah, organizations.
So it's interesting to see how this one organization, spurred off a lot of other ones to create like a bigger community.
And things are, it's been good. They're working together. They're bringing more knowledge to the people, more more teaching to the people.
Yeah, more
to the
education.
audience. Yeah, there it is. So it was just. It's been a lot about San Antonio, and I love. And you want to tell the people how the Battle of Flowers started?
Oh, see if I can remember. So the original story that I understood that he taught us in elementary school was that the Battle of Flowers parade was originally the parade started because they had a president coming to visit San Antonio, and so because the president was coming in, they wanted to throw a big festival, show him how beautiful San Antonio was, and show him how we had recovered. And so they put together a group of women, the Women's Auxiliary League, that came together and created the first, what's now called the parade. But unfortunately, the president did not make it. He had to cancel his trip, so he never actually saw the parade that the city center had put together for him. But because he didn't show up, the women that were riding around the carriages wanted to make it lively and fun again. So, because they didn't have a guest speaker or a main person, a grand marshal, instead what they did is as the carts drove past each other, they ripped off the flowers that were used to decorate the coaches and they started throwing them at each other and at guests. And that's where we get the Battle of Flowers tradition. It was really people just throwing flowers from one cart to each other as they passed by. And of course the Battle of Fiesta also marks the Battle of San Jacinto, which was a battle that obviously happened in San Jacinto, where we finally defeated Santa Anna's army, 13 days after we had lost at the Battle of the Alamo. So a little bit of Texas history for you folks out there. I look forward to seeing who corrects me out there. But yeah, that's the story.
Yeah, okay, well, just remember, what we're saying is something that we have learned. Whether we learned it right or whether we learned it wrong, it's something that we learned.
And I hope someone does correct me.
Yeah.
This is how we learn, by sharing stories. Mm-hmm. This is just what I remember from probably the 4th grade. And really no one talks about that talk. We spend a lot of time talking about Fiesta, how much fun it is, but we don't really talk about the history of why our city celebrates these things.
Well, I never learned.
Yeah.
And at my time of schooling, we were never taught that. So this came later on in your generation. But in my generation, we knew there was a parade and whatever, but it was never mentioned why it happened or anything. But I remember I used to love the river parade.
Oh, I still do.
Oh, I love the river parade. My daddy worked downtown on the river walk. Every morning he'd be there real early, and they had a place right off St. Mary's where it was a little hole in the wall out of cement and rock. They had a gate, and their buckets and their brooms and everything was kept there. So they would go in the morning and get all this, and they would wash the sidewalk and the steps and everything with the water from San Antonio River, and they would splash it, and then with a broom they would go over and get some more water and rinse it out. Well, one time, because I went with my daddy during the summer, or when I didn't have to go to school. One time I remember we were behind by later on the 31, the Smithsonian Tower building or whatever, and later became the Granada Hotel. The library's kind of near that section of the bridge. The parade, the water, that's as far as it went, because there were some gates, because there was a real deep part there. So all that area is super, super deep. And so the barges would just stop there. The barges would be put under that building that was across the street, or across the river. And I was playing on the barges, and my daddy kept saying, "Be careful, ten cuidado, el agua, ten cuidado." And this little boy comes by with all his newspapers. He was selling newspapers. So we're jumping from barge to barge. And Daddy can't be watching both of us. I mean, just be careful, ten cuidado. Well, next thing you know, the little boy put his books down, the papers down. We're playing. He falls in the river.
No.
I know he doesn't know how to swim. I don't know how I did it. All I did was just put my hand down and grab him by the hair and pull him up. And pull him up. And I'm screaming for my daddy. My daddy comes and gets him. Other people saw him. They all ran to him. And their daddy's trying to dry him off, or at least squish the water off of him. And well, he didn't have to worry about selling newspapers. Everybody gave him money for the newspaper. So, but that he could have drowned so easy. But that's me not listening to
Okay,
it.
that sounds like Emma. That sounds like you,
Emma,
all right.
Yeah, I was having fun jumping, and he joined me. But it was so crazy that good thing he had hair.
Oh, to pull up, to reach in and grab.
He fell in. I reached down and pulled it up. Oh my God, that was
Man, the stories that the San Antonio River could tell.
He would always find interesting things. Somebody must have broken into a wholesale floor or one time. Because one time he found, I don't know, a big old stack of boxes of gardenias. So he he gave a lot away, but he brought Mama a whole bunch of boxes of gardenias. I had a headache. I love gardenias, but that was a little too much.
I love such a gardenias.
Oh my God, what memories. I hadn't even thought about those memories.
What kind of advice would you offer younger people who want to start telling their own stories but don't know how to start? What advice would you tell young people about storytelling?
If a thought comes to you about something that happened, write it down. Just write that thought down, what it is. And then later on, you're going to think more about it when you see it. You have time, and you look at that. And then you say, oh, and I remember this happened also with it. And start adding to that. Take a page, and just on the top of the page of a notebook, write your thought at that time, what you remember. And then another page, and as you think about something that occurred, was the first one, add it on. It doesn't have to be in sequence. Nothing has to be in sequence. Just write it down. That to me is the way some of my stories are. And I'll write the story about it, and then I think, I should also add this. I think this sounds better if I added it, turn it around this way or that way. So that's
good advice.
Yeah, to me, because once that thought is gone, you go to something else. It's such a vast world that if you grasp a thought, put it down. And then you can come back to it because you need to write something down.
Yeah.
Because at my age, I forget a lot.
There's like little breadcrumbs that remind you of bigger things, right?
Yes, exactly. That's it. And that's why, I'm going to write about this beautiful friend that we had coming that's hanging around here, and about the squirrel with
the giant peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Yeah, please don't let me forget about the squirrel and the peanut butter sandwich, because I don't have nothing to write it down. We went to 1 year, and this I'm going out San Antonio, to Buchanan Lake, and we were riding on the boat in the lake, and I had made fry bread, and I had some fry bread with me, and I threw some fry bread over, and the seagulls came, the gulls came, the white-winged doves came, and I was throwing it up because I went all the way to the back, and I'm throwing pieces of fry bread up there, and the doves are picking them up, and I wrote he's got something
eating something.
Yeah, he's eating. He caught something with wings, it looks like. Big? Oh, okay. And so I made a story about this one gull is remembering the stories that her grandmother gull would tell him, pigeon or dove. I have it at home. And they belong to a tribe called the Gimme Gimme tribe, because I kept giving them. They kept wanting more and more. So I kept giving. And that's the way stories come. And so I think we're getting looked at. I don't know, but I know that we're having fun.
Well, friends, we hope you've enjoyed this conversation between Grandma Emma and I. We hope that this spurs conversations at home for you and your elders. Please leave us your comments and questions. We'd love to hear your feedback. Let us know what you'd like to hear from future episodes. And of course, tune in every Monday from 4 to 5 p.m. on AIT social media platforms to join Grandma Emma and I. And once again, we'll see you till next time. Adios.
Thank you for watching Storytime with Grandma Coyote. We look forward to seeing you next week, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and our Instagram.